You walk into rooms and you feel like, I don't belong here. And reinventing yourself often comes with imposter syndrome. Even now, when I, get a new client and the client wants me to do something that I've never done before, often I'll question myself. Yet I've done this for like over 2 decades. And it's just that constant resilience that Nompilo speaks about. Stepping out into entrepreneurship can feel so daunting, but it often looks like pushing through the fear, learning anyway, trying anyway, and eventually, as you keep moving, you realize that you are more capable than you fear. And I think that many people, especially women, especially professionals, and especially people entering into unfamiliar spaces, carry that imposter syndrome silently. So reading this book was deeply, deeply affirming. The second reflection from this book is that there is hardship in transition. There's a point in the book where Nompilo says, after leaving her corporate life, what have I done? And I appreciate her vulnerability so much, because reinvention is not often glamorous. It is hard. And we often like to clap and celebrate people's successes, but we rarely look at the middle before the success, the loneliness, the fear, the discomfort, the grief that comes with becoming someone new. And maybe perhaps that's the rule of nature, that we need to let go of the old before we can accept the new, like a seed. It has to break and die before a tree can grow into something. And I think transition asks the same thing from us, to let go of all the versions of ourselves, to make room and space and growth for the people that we are going to become. And that is what resilience really is. It's not perfection. It's not pretending that it's easy, but it's continuing anyway. It's trying anyway. It's showing up. It's learning anyway. It's building anyway, even when fear is present. And that is one of the most beautiful things that comes out from this book. It reminds us of resilience, and that resilience is not just for a special set of extraordinary people who grew up in a certain way. That resilience is for you and me. It's for all of us. And it is built in quiet spaces. It is built in our daily, ordinary lives. It is built in adapting and asking for help and surviving disappointment. It is built in continuing despite uncertainty. And I think that message is incredibly important, especially in the kind of world that we live in today. And then thirdly and lastly, what is the cost of success if we lose ourselves in the process?
Sure.
And that is what the book constantly is asking us. What is the cost of success if we lose ourselves in the process? That question has stayed with me even after reading the book, because I know what it feels like to pursue achievement while quietly longing for something more meaningful. And perhaps maybe that's why the book has resonated so deeply within me, because it reminds us that we are allowed to redefine success. We are allowed to evolve. We are allowed to choose purpose along the side of ambition. And throughout her book, Nompilo continuously brings us back to humanity, to purpose, to alignment, to faith, and to resilience. So success to me is just being able to own my time, because I believe that time is the greatest gift that you can give to someone. And that is why, my focus and my shifting has been towards growing in business, because what is, again, that cost of success if we lose ourselves in the process? What is the cost of going every single day to that one job and just giving of yourself when you know that you are misaligned and you want more? And in conclusion, I want to congratulate Nompilo for not just writing a book, but for writing an honest one, a
Sure.
courageous one,
Yeah.
a reflective one, and a deeply human one. One of my favorite lines in this book is derived from page 58. It says, "You are allowed to grow as you build." And I think that message is is what many of us need to hear. That growth is not always neat and perfect, that purpose is always evolving, and that we don't have to have everything figured out. We can just build as we go. We are allowed to evolve as we build. We are allowed to become as we are growing. And there's a quote by Marianne Williamson, which is one of my favorite quotes, and it's also one of Nompilo's favorite quotes. It says, "And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others." And I think that Nompilo has done that for so many people around her. Nompilo, your presence is so liberating. And as you have let your own light shine, your presence has automatically, liberated others and enabled others to be. Nompilo mentors others. She shares her knowledge. She supports people. She creates opportunities for others. And as I stand here today, I can personally say that Nompilo has supported my business journey. So much of the branding that you see today is what Nompilo has, put into and poured into my business as someone who is in marketing and communications and graphic design. And Nompilo does that because of who she is. Because as Gumede says, that is who she is. She pours into people. She uplifts others. And that spirit of generosity is what I admire most about Nompilo. In a world where people gatekeep information, gatekeep opportunities, that kind of generosity is deeply, deeply meaningful. And as honest and raw and real her book is, it is exactly who she is. And this is what makes this memoir so powerful, because it's not manufactured, it is lived. It is Nompilo herself. And as we're discussing the cover of the book, she had wanted to do a graphic, and I was like, no, Nompilo, this book is you. This is your memoir. You should be on the cover because it is you. We cannot read the book without the essence of who you are. And I just want to deeply encourage all of you. I know that you've got a cover, you've got a copy of the book here today. But I encourage you to also grab one for someone else that you know is standing on the edge of reinvention, of wanting to leap into business. The people that are questioning themselves, the people who are battling with imposter syndrome, the people who are wondering whether they're capable or not to start business. Because these pages that you're going to read, they're not just insightful, but they are liberating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.